Cooper, and thanks everyone for being here today. This is, as I like to say as much as I can, this is what politics is all about. And most importantly, I want to thank the parents and the teenagers for coming out today, because I remember when I was younger, and I am a product of the YR system. I grew up going to TARS. I grew up at the University of Georgia and joined their college Republicans. I was president of the Atlanta Young Republicans, and we grew that to become the largest chapter in the country. But you guys are the future. And when everyone used to tell me, oh, I'm the future, I was like, yeah, whatever. I didn't think that there was reality to that, but there really is. And I also want to emphasize the importance of the parents. When I was younger, I didn't like to listen to what my parents told me and what the principles that they put forward. And I always pushed back. I will promise you, as you get older, you will learn and discover that your parents are right. And so it's important to learn that lesson sooner rather than later. So thank you guys for both of those facts. What's important to remember for everyone in this room, both parents and the teenagers, is our country is in danger. And if you look at what Joe Biden did to the American people, he gave us the ultimate bait and switch. He campaigned on moderation. He campaigned on unity. He campaigned on bringing Americans together. And since he's been elected, he's done anything and everything but that. He has sought to divide us right out of the gate with critical race theory. Is it Devontae? What would you say you go by? I want to make sure I get it right. Sully, okay. As Sully, thank you for your courage in stepping up in that mayor's race. As he said, what the left is trying to do is they know they cannot beat Republicans mano a mano. They have to divide and conquer. And this has been a strategy that they have emphasized and utilized for decades on decades. So what do? They start at the beginning. They are starting at the earliest years of the future generations, which you guys are, by saying that there are two types of people. There are people that are oppressors, and there are people that are oppressed. And that is anything but the truth. I will tell you, in my generation, and I'm a millennial, race wasn't a thing. I grew up with people that did not look like me, didn't talk like me, were from different parts of the country, and I didn't think anything about it. We played sports together, we went to class together, we grew up together, we're still lifelong friends together, and so they're fictitiously creating a reality which doesn't exist. And what I will tell you guys as teenagers is, as you chart your path forward, you will begin to see in college, it only gets worse. Our college and university systems now are complete and total indoctrination mills. And I was telling someone earlier this story, I think it was you right here on the front, which is, I'll never forget, I took an economics class and we had to write a paper. And I wrote a paper talking about the principles of America that made America the greatest country on earth, which are free market, free enterprise principles, which engender creativity, which engender risk, which engender and encourage hard work. And on this paper, I got a B. I was a very studious student. I went to the professor. I said, how did I get a B on this paper? This seems completely and totally right. And the professor said, oh, it's fundamentally unsound because we need big government, socialistic principles in order to take America to become like the European nations. And that is exactly what Joe Biden and his administration are doing, which is they're trying to make America like the rest of the world. But we should be making the rest of the world like America. Yeah. And that's a fact. But that burden doesn't stop with me. It doesn't stop with any of the parents in the room. It stops with the teenagers. You guys are the future of the country. And you guys are going to face an even more difficult country and burden than I faced or the generations before, because the liberals have gotten to a point where there are no boundaries. They will steal elections. They will hijack big tech. They'll hijack the media, and they'll hijack our university system. And so what that has created is, as conservatives, the only path forward is being a fighter. And every candidate that you guys have seen today, they're fighters for the future. Some may be better than others, but the reality is they've got the courage to put themselves forward. And that's what each of you guys in this room are going to have to do. So I will briefly talk about me and my campaign, and then I would like, and I encourage all of the teenagers and parents to talk to me about kind of my experience through the YR system and what has created an opportunity for me to now run for office and all the benefits that it came. I grew up in Douglas County, Georgia, which is a suburb on the west side of Atlanta. I went to University of Georgia. I'm a Double Dog, big UGA football fan. I love University of Georgia. I went there for both undergrad and law school. I started practicing law. I've had the privilege of representing many good clients over the years. I've been able to deliver very good results. I chaired the State Ethics Commission, and I didn't think about running for office until two very, very big things happened. And I felt now's the time for me to put myself forward in order to save this country from what the radical left is trying to take us. First, last November, what happened with the election is something we all have to take very, very seriously, because that is what is endangering the Democratic Republic that exists. Last November, we remember suddenly at 8 p.m., DeKalb County, Fulton County stops counting ballots. Well, why would you do that? That makes no sense if you want to encourage confidence in the process. Well, they did it because they needed to know how many votes they needed to find in order to hit the margins they were at. And that's exactly what happened, because as we begin to see more and more votes come in day after day, and they're going in 90-10 margins, the wrong direction for us, right direction for them. At that point, I think all of us grew very, very concerned and knew something had to be done about it. Many of our legislators put themselves forward to try to create that. SB 202 was passed, which remedied a number of the issues. Could it went further? Maybe, but it's a good step in the right direction. And then the second thing that happened was Joe Biden and the bait and switch. And as we begin to look at our country, the border crisis, opening the borders, every time Democrats get in office, they do two things. They try to fundamentally change election law. That's through SR1, HR1, they're trying to get that through. And they open the borders because they think that both of those things will enable them to continue to win elections. They are, through inflationary tactics, decreasing the value of our monetary dollar. They're disincentivizing work. And so all of that is to say, something had to be done to step up to reinstate conservative principles which made this country the greatest country on earth. And so what I'm telling people is I am selling and delivering to the American people. My campaign is a bold, unafraid, conservative campaign to create a revolution to retake America, and it starts right here in Georgia. SEL, I created a little acronym to make it easier on me to remember everything. SEL, which is security. We must get back to protecting national security, domestic security, and also security of the family. National security, first and foremost, we've got to get control of the border. We've got to empower our military. If we look at what's happening right now in Cuba and Israel, countries don't respect America anymore. None of this happened under President Trump because countries knew there are consequences for actions. And so we have to, as Ronald Reagan said, peace through strength, create a strong military, a strong president, a country across the globe to respect. Two, domestic security, empowering and supporting our law enforcement. My cousin is actually a deputy sheriff, and he told me a story. He was in an active police pursuit. He was faced with a very difficult choice, he said. He said, either I can continue this pursuit and potentially lose my job by a fake accusation that I'm pursuing someone on the basis of their skin color, which isn't true, which means I lose my livelihood. I can't put food on the table for my children. Or I can continue going along this pursuit and endanger myself and my future. And what did he do? He said, ultimately, a lot of police officers are just letting people go. And that's the reason why we've got to support, not defund our police officer. E is for education. As I spoke about earlier, we are facing a hyper-aggressive and strengthening China. If China's goal at the end of the day is to take over as what's called the global hegemon, the most powerful nation on earth, without firing a bullet. Now, how are they trying to do this? They're trying to do it by what I said earlier, which is divide and conquer. We're doing it to ourselves with critical race theory. And so in our schools, we have to stop that right out of the gate and eliminate any possibility that our youth, the future of our country, are viewing each other as X or O's, as Dr. Seuss's book said. School choice is a principle I think we need to push forward through voucher programs, which is moving the selection of schools from the federal government to the families and the children. My first L is for liberty, personal liberty, economic liberty. We want to make sure, and religious liberty. We want to make sure that individuals have the principal choice, not the federal government. And then my last L is limited. Limited government intrusion, limited taxes, limited regulations. All of those principles are the principles that created this country, which is the shining beacon on the hill. But Biden and the Democratic Senate and the Democratic Congress and the House are gradually eroding away those principles to, like I said earlier, make America like the rest of the world when we should be making the rest of the world like America. So with that, I thank all of you guys for coming. For the teenagers, keep doing it. You're going to see it takes courage. And it's only going to get harder as you get older, but you guys are the future. I would love for you guys to get involved with my campaign. I've got Chuck Stone, who is our grassroots operator, and he's in the back there. He's happy to talk to you guys. But Jake, my website is jakeevans.org. I thank you guys and look forward to continue to see you guys grow. You are the future of the country, so thank you.